Alright, welcome back to Beagle Eye Visions. It's been a while, Today's book review, or this month's book review, I guess I should say, is the third book in the Young Bond novel series. The third book is called Double or Die, again by Charlie Higson. So I found out that Charlie Higson, he's written some episodes in Hollywood about some really predominant TV shows. He's written some, actually some really well-known stuff and some really good stories too. So I'm glad to see that he expanded his vision into Hollywood, which is also kind of sketchy at the same time. But anyways, so Double or Die by Charlie Higson. The November book review is highly intellectual and chock full of fascinating research, practical wisdom you can use in your everyday life, and was empirical evidence of the magic of natural law. Let's get another cheer in there. I love natural law. Beagle Eye Visions loves natural law. That's why he's got the emerald language coming out his eyeballs, okay? So, the Young Bond series is all about James Bond before he becomes an order-following coward. So up to now, Young Bond is also an embodiment of natural law. He's very moral. He cares about morals. He definitely knows the difference between right and wrong behavior. He stands up for his friends, and he even stands up for people who aren't his friends, like friends of friends, people who are just in dire straits and need help. These books are fascinating. I mean, they're great. The action is great. If you're a huge fan of Bond, the introductions are fascinating. All of them are so good. He's a great writer. Charlie Higson, you're a good writer, I gotta say. You're an inspirational writer, too. There was somebody who did a book review, some YouTube hater was saying that Charlie Higson writes, it's like, you know, he writes like preschool level, as somebody was saying. And like, quit drinking that haterade, man. It's good. He's a good writer. He's a really good writer, and it's Young Bond. Bond is, I think in this book he's 16, and the next book he's 17, I can't remember. The next book in this series is called Hurricane Gold, and that one's another really interesting one. I'm looking forward to that. But anyways, back to Double or Die. Synchronistically, Double or Die, like the last book review that was all about the brain and, you know, natural law and consciousness, expanding your consciousness. Double or Die synchronistically begins with a description of the brain, labeling the brain as a hungry machine, and that was kind of interesting. It made me, it's almost like, yeah, looking at like a poisoned worldview of looking at the brain. You know, looking at it, calling it a hungry machine. It was really interesting the way that the author described it. But here, listen to this. The human brain is a remarkable object. It contains 100 billion neurons, all talking to each other via tiny electrical sparks, like a never-ending fireworks display in your skull. Your brain weighs 3 pounds. It makes up only 1/50th of your body, yet it uses up over a fifth of your blood supply and oxygen. The brain is a hungry machine. It never shuts down. Even while you are asleep, it is awake, keeping your lungs breathing, your heart beating, the blood flowing through your veins. Without your brain, you can do nothing. It allows you to ride a bike, read a book, laugh at a joke. It can store a whole lifetime of memory. Oh, it can store a whole lifetime of memory. Sorry, but it is very fragile, and that's a direct quote from page 1. So we're getting crazy with the quotes. That was a good one. That just kind of gets me fired up. I got restless leg syndrome because I started drinking coffee again. I started drinking coffee because I get my job. I work at a grocery store now, so I get a 10% discount on coffee, and the 10% discount with Dubby that I get for the sponsorship, it's good, but you know, shipping is so bad. It's like, why is shipping so expensive? It's kind of unbelievable, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole. So fun fact, back to Double or Die. Fun fact, it is a British custom to plant yews and cypresses in graveyards, it's adopted from the Romans. It reminded me of the game Titan Quest that I've been playing on the channel. If you follow the gaming aspect of the channel, I've been grinding a lot of Titan Quest, and lately too. Or the amazing allegorical film 1917 that was directed by Sam Mendes. That movie is really good, and there's a scene where there's I think those are cherry blossoms, but in the scene you can see yews they're all together, and yews are all throughout 1917 too. I think near the end of the movie when he gets out of the water, there's a really cool stuff. So the book, the scene, it opens up with Alexis Fairburn sitting in Highgate Cemetery with a snub nose pointing at his skull, trying to remember how he got in this position. He recalls his daily routine. I was researching Bond through Jay Dyer, because, you know, the last Young Bond series I did a Jay Dyer quote, whole Jay Dyer introduction. So, studying Jay Dyer's work, I found out that Spectre is based off of a real-life counterintelligence program called SMERSH. S-M-E-R-S-H. SMERSH was coined by Joseph Stalin and was formed under the guise of counterterrorism. Doesn't this sound like something Americans have? Like, you know, when it comes to, you know, counterintelligence, CIA, you know, you guys know the letter. You guys are intelligent. And also, why can't Edward Snowden still can't come back home? Edward Snowden's American. Why is he still hiding out in a foreign country? Yeah. This organization, SMERSH, claimed to fight anti-Soviets, and their mantra was "Death to Spies," formed on the 14th of April. The 14th of April is a very occulted date, by the way. 1943. The parent department was the State Defense Committee. That's what it was called. I did the research. Look it up. It's really interesting. SMERSH was organized in Russia, but this always brought to mind everything that followed the Big 9 event, right? The amount of security that the state ramped up to fight terrorism, to fight terror. To fight terror, you remember, like, George Bush kept talking, every George Bush speech, to fight terror, to fight terror, fight terror, the war on terror, you know, and Trump's doing it too now. He's getting this, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. I'm gonna try to stick to the content here today. So similar to the U.S. Department of Defense, it said 2.91 million employees to provide the military forces needed to deter war and ensure our nation's security. Yeah, sure. Yeah, ensure our nation's security. Yeah. It's all about security, right? Yeah. So according to Jay Dyer, Ian Fleming was preparing us for these fronts, right? The CIA and SMERSH, Spectre, and the movies. I'm talking about the Bond movies, the Bond films, the Spectre organization. And people still, so Ian Fleming was preparing us for these fronts through the fictional stories of James Bond and the fictional Bond books, which I'm going to get to on this channel in the future. I just need to start buying them. I think the first James Bond Ian Fleming novel was Dr. No, if I remember. Don't quote me on that one. I need to do more research into that. So, getting into Chapter 1, Thoughts in a Bamford and Martin Tourer. Beginning Chapter 1, Bond is back. He's back at Eton with his pals. He's playing with the lads, playing cards and gossiping about what happened in the last book, Blood Fever. Go back and check out that book review. It's a really good book. Bond gets picked up by a Eton professor named Professor Marriott. He's a recurring character in the series. The professor is accompanied by two bizarre men in suits telling Bond not to discuss what happened in the last book. So, of course, you know, hush, hush, hush. And then telling Bond not to discuss what happened, as, you know, Bond is sitting in the lads, you know, gossiping about what happened in the book, like what I just said. The media is going to paint the psychopath. If you remember in the last book, his name was Carnifex was the terrorist in the last book, Blood Fever. You know, remember when Bond was his body was getting sucked out by mosquitoes in the last book, because that's the bad guy was trying to kill Bond. Classic, you know, classic cliche Bond. Trying to kill Bond, but so Bond, if you guys remember, Bond was tied up like to a piece of wood, and all these mosquitoes were sucking his blood, and he almost died. That was a crazy scene. So this professor is accompanied by two men in suits, like the Men in Black. You know what happened, and the media is going to spin the psychopath Carnage, the last terrorist in the book. The media is going to spin him as a good guy. We find out in the book. It's like what? Like of course the media is going to spin the terrorist as a good guy. Why wouldn't he, right? It's like that, I think I even said, similar to the Cringe Fest movie. Yeah, see, I put it in my notes. It's similar to the Cringe Fest movie that I keep talking about. I was talking about Crazy Life Stories of Matt Bennett, Matt Bennett and Dennis Gilmore, those legends on the Crazy Life Stories podcast. Similar to the Cringe Fest movie on Netflix, White Noise, where Adam Driver tries to convince you that Hitler was a lovable chap. You know, Hitler loved his mom, just like Elvis. Hitler and Elvis loved his mom. Like, Wake the Dead podcast gets into that too. Really interesting. Man, I think I drank way too much caffeine because I've been so used to working. I finally have the next 2 days off. My work week is over, and then at the time of recording this, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. I'm so excited to have a really good home-cooked meal. I'm going to eat all the mashed potatoes, all the deviled eggs. We're going to be in here cooking tonight, doing some prep work, and then tomorrow we're going to be cooking all morning. I'm so excited. I can't wait, man. Can't wait. Shout out to Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for a warm meal in my belly in the West Virginia mountains. Okay. So back to the book. You know, White Noise, movie that predicted the Ohio train chemical spill, you know, in East Palestine. People always seem to forget about these psychological operations, and it makes me angry. The Ohio chemical train spill that led to acid rain falling onto innocent citizens in, yeah, East Palestine. I need to stick with my notes. So Bond goes back to Eton. The lads are playing cards when the headmaster of Eton, Codrose, knocks at the door. Codrose has a letter from the missing professor at the intro of the book, the missing Professor Fairburn. So Bond's roommate Pritpal realizes the letter has cryptic clues in it. And they begin to solve the puzzle. Realizing they can't get further without the physical letter, James and the Danger Society, if you guys remember the underground, the lads have the Danger Society, they call it, and they go on missions and adventures, just like Adventure Time. Super cool. It reminds me of me and my homies back in the day. We had our secret skate spots, you know, we had our secret handshakes, our secret skate spots back when I was in school. It was so awesome. Pritpal eventually remembers that Fairburn had a friend and a colleague coming to school to address the Crossword Society. Pritpal is obviously in the Crossword Society. One of the extracurricular activities that you can do at Eton. And it's just like 1984, this school Eton, like if you don't sign yourself up for extracurricular activities at this school, they will sign you up, like they'll force you to take an extracurricular activity after school, like an after class type of like a book club or, you know, like the Crossword Society. It's really interesting. So it makes me think of 1984, another great book. So Bond is going to tag along to the meeting he's gonna scope out the mysterious man who goes by Gordis. So wait a minute. Oh, no, okay. I see. I'm getting ahead. So, when this dude shows up, James describes him as having a foul stench of alcohol and cigarettes. He's got puffy eyes and a really, like, wiry body. This guy, you know, he's lanky like H.P. Lovecraft. You know, like, he makes me think, oh, yeah, he makes me think of Pegasus from Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, he's a creep, man. He's an astrological creep. Completely off-putting. And he makes this guy, when he comes in, this character makes Freddy Krueger look handsome. He's just such a weird, like, hey, he's smoking cigarettes, so he reeks of cigarettes and alcohol. Ugh. like my dad smells like that. My dad smells like cigarettes and alcohol. So that smell, I can just imagine it. Like it's just like it just gets in your face, just nasty, up in your nostrils. So Gordius proceeds to prove that he knows nothing about crossword and shows that he loves to gamble. So he gets a game of hearts going. I think that's what it's called, like a card game of hearts. They play it in jail a lot. Gets a game of hearts going with the lads, and he places a £5 bet with James and loses £5. I don't know how much that is, because I'm in America. That's over across the pond, you know, in England. That's a pound, £5, mate. Bet with James, and he loses. Gordius also claims his real name is Professor Ivor Peterson from Cambridge. So Bond decides he needs to speak to the real professor. He figures that he is, you know, this guy's weird. There's something about him. So Bond's like, I need to speak to the real professor because this guy he's faking. He's a poser. So feeling a serious sense of urgency, Perry, another member of the Dangerous Society, convinces Bond to take the Bamford and Martin to Cambridge because it would be faster than the train. And the whole time, this book is like, it's go. Like there's a sense of urgency that these boys got to find the missing professor, right? Because he's in trouble. You know, so what sets them off is a clue they discover is a reference to a Robert Louis Stevenson book, which I need to buy that. I need to buy all of his book. Robert Louis Stevenson is a very prolific writer. He's amazing. If you guys have followed along with the channel, the book reviews, and you haven't read a Robert Louis Stevenson book, I can't recommend it enough. Treasure Island is one of the best. Treasure Island. Let me get a... Treasure Island, man. I need a cheer for Treasure Island. That book is so good. I can't wait to play some finals. I drink so much caffeine and Dubby right after coffee. Excuse me. Alright. So, what sets them off, Robert Stevens' book, in the Fairburn letter, it says the author of the poem is David Balfour, a character in the novel Kidnapped. So, what's the professor trying to say? He's given cryptic clues in the crossword puzzles. He's referencing Robert Louis Stevenson's book, Kidnapped. You know, like, Bond is Bond is intelligent. He's trying to put all the pieces together. So, Chapter 7, arriving at Cambridge in Chapter 7, James goes to the college where Peterson works. James come across a colleague of Peterson who says it was supposed to... I wrote that wrong. James comes across a colleague of Peterson who says he was supposed to meet at the office. So they knock at the office door but hear nothing and nobody answers the door. So Bond being Bond, he finds a way into the office to investigate. You know, of course, Bond, cliche Bond, but it's really good. I love it. It gets me fired up. Like, I still love the Bond movies. Even I'm still butthurt that they just killed them off. You know, like the allegorical of No Time to Die was like they were. In my opinion, it like the No Time to Die was written by, you know, not to start a gender war, but it was written by like the females of the Broccoli family. I could be way off. I need to do more research. But so yeah, they took his toxic masculinity, put him on an island because he had the virus that could, if he touched anybody, if he came near anybody, you'd wipe them all out because of the virus. So. And then they blew Bond up. It's just so dumb. So dumb. Gosh. And there was so many good, like, Easter eggs, so many Bond Easter eggs in No Time to Die, but I'm, like, I might watch it, I might catch it on a streaming service for free, but I'm not gonna give him money. It's not worth it. It was a really dumb movie. So, they knock on the office door, Bond goes in, finding old photos of the two professors together, so Professor Ivor Peterson and Alexis Fairburn. Peterson, he bears no resemblance to the Gordius weirdo, because he finds the photos, he's like, so that's the real professor, and he figures out that Gordius is definitely a weirdo. So, major spoilers coming. I'm gonna do the spoiler dance. That's a fun one. Major spoilers, spoiler dance. Okay, so if you guys need to read the series is so good. I'm probably doing horrible at explaining it. James finds a hidden door beyond a curtain, revealing a concealed study filled with books on books on books on books on books, with piles of paper scattered through the entire room on every surface. It looks like a Call of Cthulhu, the game series I was grinding last year. Bond gets spooked seeing a man in a chair next to a table with a lit cigar still burning, so the smoke is just billowing up in the billowing up and filling the smoke filling the room. The man is ice cold, and Bond realizes he has no pulse. Peterson is dead. There is a difference between a living person and a dead one. Something indescribable. A dead person is somehow no longer a person. He is a lump of flesh. The only part of Peterson that was still alive was the bacteria in his stomach. They would thrive and grow as the gases build up in his stomach. As the gases build up until the stomach burst, and the bacteria would spread throughout the rest of his body. Already it was beginning to rot and decay, page 97. Ooh, it is intense. Intense. Chilling. Oh. That was the button I meant to press. My bad. Oh, this channel's so professional. So in Cambridge, beginning chapter 9, Perry doesn't show up at the rendezvous, so Bond finds the Bamford and Martin in a pinch. But the person who seems to be the murderer is on Bond's tail. So Bond, they take the Bamford and Martin to Cambridge with, who did I say? What was his name? Perry? Yeah, so Perry, they get a plan going because it's the Dangerous Society. They're like, we gotta find this professor. They meet up in Cambridge. They end up splitting up, and then Bond finds the car, and Perry, like, Bond can't find Perry either at the rendezvous, so they get kind of split up, and then the mysterious stranger shows up. So the mysterious stranger shows up with a face that has the appearance of a skeleton, and the way he describes his character just gives me chills. The skin near his eyeballs are peeled back and stretched. The eye sockets are sunken in as if he has the features of Baron Samedi. His teeth have a deep yellow hue, like an overripened banana. Like this, another creep. Like this guy's just so weird, so weird. James gets to the Bamford, the vehicle, with no Perry, so yeah, they end up splitting off. And the skull-faced creep chases Bond, running him into a ditch and destroying Bond's vehicle. That was Bond's only car, man. And it was nice. If you look up a Bamford and Martin, the year, like, I looked up the photo, it's a nice car. It looks like an old Studebaker or something like that. You know, those putt-putt engines, like, like look like the original Ford, you know, engines. Like all the exhaust are hanging out. So, yeah, the scumbags they just total the gorgeous machine. Oh, it sets on fire. Big explosion, of course, bunch of action, you know. So this book in the series, I would say this book definitely has the most amount of action. I mean, there's just, every chapter is just, like, it's going. Like, I was reading it at work and just flipping the pages. So part 2, wait a minute. Yeah, so there's a lot of, the other books in the series have a lot of exposition and background because it's building up the backstory of Bond and some of the other characters in the Dangerous Society, like Perry and some of the other lads. So part 2, getting to part 2 of the book, the part 2 is called The Big Smoke. Part 2 begins with a chapter called The Big Smoke. And being an American who will never be able to afford to go across the pond, I just put a comment on Jesse's Tea House today about I'll never be able to ride on a plane, nor do I want to. I didn't know that was a reference to London. When it said The Big Smoke, I just kept thinking of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Yeah. All you had to do was follow the train, CJ! So, one of the main reasons that I love the Young Bond series is because of, like I said earlier, James Bond is a representation of natural law. At least before he becomes an order-following coward. James Bond really, natural law, total embodiment of natural law. Just like Kayla from the Barcode series, or who else what is another series that I did a book review on this channel? yeah, I don't know, brain fart. I can't stop tapping my feet either because all the caffeine I had. So that's one of the main reasons I love this book is because he embodies natural law before he becomes an order-following coward, and Bond completely understands the difference between right and wrong behavior again. But he also stands up for those who suffer, and that is so important. Like, I don't care what anybody says. We need to study morality and, yes, help those who suffer. Like, stop the arbitrary, using, that's why food stamps are immoral. Because food stamps are immoral. Instead of going to your neighbor's house and being like, hey, howdy neighbor, can you help me out for the week? You're getting a mafia that is government to rob your neighbors and forcefully, and then if you ever try to get food, like getting food stamps is a headache. Even like my mom always tried to get food stamps, they'd cut them off, like they take $200 away out of your $400, to support a family of 4, and it's like they can arbitrarily change the amount of money, like it's slavery with extra steps. So James, getting into some emerald language of his name, James is a Hebrew name with Greek roots, translating roughly to grabs the heel. And in biblical literature, James is the son of Zebedee and means the gift from God. And so the last name Bond is obvious, the agent that bonds, right? He's the bonding agent. Again, shout out to Jay Dyer for that information. No matter what situation he finds himself in these books, he never accepts defeat or dire straits. And just like the movies too, the earlier movies before No Time to Die and all that stuff. The Daniel Craig era of the Bond films kind of switched it, and they got really dark and gritty, and he's like, morally ambiguous. He's just killing people left and right. Like the first scene in Casino Royale is his first kill, supposedly, It's just weird. It's weird. What are they trying to say, right? He brushes it off. James brushes it off and accepts the situation as base value and thinks of an intelligent response to get out of the situation, refusing to let emotions get the best of him. How many people have that mentality versus the woe is me mentality, the victim mentality, as they say on the One Great Work Network. Think about people's mentality before and after this recent election, right? This past election. I was reading just the most ignorant Facebook comments about like, yeah, I woke up with so much anxiety today. I just didn't know who was gonna be the president. Like, oh my God, woe is me. The victim mentality. People love their victim mentality. It's ridiculous. How about put some W in your cup and start to be better. You gotta be better, son. Be better, son. Anyways, now I'm going off tangent. But yeah, the election thing is like, oh God, slavery with extra steps. No matter who you pick, no matter who wins, we lose, right? Like, shout out to 45 Adapters. They had an amazing song, Patriots Not Fools, like that. People, I don't know. People seem to forget what patriotism is really supposed to be about. It's sad. Me and The Illusion were talking about that on, The Illusion, he went live on the night of the election, and I was just going off like, dude, picking your slave master is immoral, and nobody has the right to do that. Even if you go to the poll booth and write your own name in, that's still an immoral action. But anyways, so listen to this. Here's another quote from the book. Here, he was in the middle of God knows where, bandaged around his head, no money in his pockets, trudging along in the rain with no socks on, wearing a stolen suit. What was lucky about that? What was lucky about finding a dead body being chased by 2 killers, crashing his car and watching it burn? It was how you looked at it, he supposed. At least he was better off than the one-legged war veteran sharing his alley with a mangy cat in page 131, right? The war veteran. Synchronicity! So Bond escapes a hospital and takes a cab to Perry's house. And Perry's got bread. Perry's he's a trust fund baby. So Perry's got that bread. So Perry pays for the cab, And James gets some James Bond. He takes a bath. He gets some much needed relaxation, some R&R with a warm meal. I can't wait to have that warm meal tomorrow for Thanksgiving. I'm so excited. I've been eating fast food because at work, you know, there's a pile of Little Caesars boxes behind the camera on the stove right now. And sorry about the mess. It's kind of messy. Like, we got all the food out ready, out of the cupboards, still ready to go. We got a bunch of soda piled up over here. We're gonna have a house full tomorrow. I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm excited. I can't wait. Squirt's that's what Squirt was fired up in there barking. I don't know if you guys heard him, but so once refueled, the lads set out to find John Charnage. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Charnage, a friend and colleague of Alexis Fairburn. So here's I'm gonna do the spoiler dance again. Go buy this book. So this is getting to the point where I really don't want to spoil anything. If you have any interest in this book or the Young Bond series, go stop the video, go start the series because it's really good. You can finish this book in a toilet. Like, think about when you sit down and take a number 2 on the toilet. Don't take your phone. Take a book, right? And you can get the book for $8, right? Books are not expensive. $8. That's like a Starbucks coffee. You know, buy a book instead of buying Starbucks coffee. Get the off-brand coffee if you have to, and buy a book for a week. You know, challenge yourself. Do something out of the ordinary, man. People, wake up. Read books. Shoot. Read books. Dang it. Oh, okay, so the lads get to Charnage's mansion, and James immediately recognized Charnage as the mysterious stranger. Who showed up to the Crossword Society. They discuss almost everything that has happened thus far, until Charnage threatens to call the police, and then he even locks the boys in the room and trapping them. So they're trying to find more information, but also Charnage is trying to find more information. So it's kind of a weird. There's a lot of tension in this chapter. Like they're trying to figure each other out. They don't know who to trust, or if the adult can trust the kids, or if the kids, you know. So the boys decide they need Prit Pal's help to break the code, and they get another letter that Charnage is trying to send out that they end up stealing. So after a bold and adventurous escape, they get back to Eton to find Prit Pal to get his help. And the title of the 13th chapter made me very happy because it is titled Breaking the Code. So check out the walkthrough I did on the D-Master of the 13 video game. 13 is so good. I wish I could play it right now. I wish I had access to it, but PlayStation's backwards compatibility features are not as good as Xbox, which I'm really thinking about almost purchasing a trash box just to be able to play these old school games that I want to. So an interesting tidbit around chapter 14, we're skipping a lot now. An interesting tidbit in chapter 14 conjured up memories of the previous book that I did, The Musical Truth Volume 1 by Mark Devlin. So Devlin speaks on the scum that is anyone with the name Sir in front of the title, right? Like Sir Paul McCartney. Or here I'll tell you. Here's a list. Sir Paul McCartney, Rod Stewart, Bob Geldof, George Martin, Elton John, Mick Jagger, Bond, of course. Or no, Bono. I don't know why I have such sloppy handwriting. Bono, the singer of U2, Ringo Starr. Although Ringo was late to the surname game, Ringo was really late to becoming a Sir. Like he just did recently. Bill Gates is a Sir. Judi Dench. M. I think she plays M. Mom in the Bond movies. M. Judi Dench, Anthony Hopkins, Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg is a Sir, like the guy who got a 15-year-old Prego. Yeah, that guy's been knighted for some reason, Steven Spielberg. And even Adele. Adele has been honored by the royal family. Like, what has Adele done, like, to be recognized? The Bond song she did was horrible. It was horrible. It was not good. Like, what has Adele done for morality? What has she done for freedom? Why, like, the freedom of the human race or education? What is she, like? She's nobody. She's nobody. Why do people support these people? Like, I don't understand it. You know what? Like, this is what needs to happen to Like even Mark Devlin says, where's a roof collapse when you need it, right? Or maybe one of these. But it's going too far for this platform. This platform's going to shut this book review down. Cheese and rice. And so here's another quote that made me think of Musical Truth. But he's a gentleman, Perry protested, from a good family with a respectable address. He's a knight, damn it, Perry says. Perry banged the pew with his fist. What do you mean, said James. A knight. He's Sir John Carnage, remember? A knight of the realm. People like him don't go around murdering people. So why did he lie to the police, said James. Why didn't he tell them why we were really at his house? They obviously don't know nothing about Fairbairn's disappearance. Direct quote from page 167. Man, I'm still tired from work. I'm sore, my back hurts. I did the math, I did over 500 pounds of potatoes and onions. Probably almost 1,000. Like I added it all up this week. So because Thanksgiving's coming up, the holidays, working at a grocery store, my back hurts. My back hurts. Sorry, I wish I had more energy in my brain and wasn't so like convoluted, but it's okay. It happens. Send Beagle Eye on Cash App, Beagle Eye Cash App more money, so then I could work less and get more days off. So after studying the letter more, Bond and Perry are led to a cemetery. It's a really spooky scene ensues, but a fun fact is that the cemetery is also the final resting place of Karl Marx, which is really interesting. Everybody, it's the real cemetery where he's buried. I looked it up too. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. A common misconception is that Karl Marx invented communism, but it is an ideology that is much older than Marx. I learned that watching Mark Passio's most recent presentation, Two Masks, Same Face, The Dark Occult Origins of Nazism and Communism. Link in the description. Very fantastic presentation. It is so freaking good. So good. That stuff is 10 out of 10. Shout out to Mark Passio. So like I have to give a shout out to Mark Passio for that presentation. Oh my gosh, the work and research he's done is phenomenal, and he's a real patriot. You know, like I give Jay Dyer a bunch of shout outs, but he's still a seemingly a statist. It seems like. So like he's again, what's Jay Dyer doing for morality and you know, for morality and freedom? Right? He's got all these paywalls. Super chats. Send money to super chats. As I just encourage you guys to send money to Beagle Eye Visions. So yeah, the common misconception. Right as Perry keeps complaining and is ready to go home, leave the cemetery, Bond finds a note near the gravestone. The note is from Fairbairn, and then... I'm sorry I ever doubted you, said Perry, but can we go now? I'm cold and I'm wet and I want to be out of this ghastly cemetery. I bet he's got like an accent, because they're from England, so he's got an accent. I can just picture it in my mind. I feel if I stay here much longer, they're going to have to bury me. I'm sure that can be arranged. Came a voice from the darkness, shockingly close. James wheeled his torch around. 2 men stood there. Evidently, Charnage had solved at least one of the clues in the cipher. It was the 2 men who had tried to kill Bond last night, Wolfgang and Ludwig Smith. Page 196. Now, the backstory of these guys is really, really good. Like, these are some bad dudes, man. These guys are some bad roaches. So they're brothers. The Ludwig Smith is the older one with pale skin. He looks like Baron Samedi. Ludwig's entire life, he looked like a skeleton. He even scared the midwife. She thought he was a corpse when he had been born. He's had constant headaches his entire life because the way his skin, like he wasn't been born normal. Again, cliche Bond, like bad guy. They grew up on the ooh, excuse me, Dubby. Chewy, Dubby and coffee. I need to get some food. He scared the midwife. She thought it was a corpse. He had constant headaches his entire life. Yet Wolfgang was born normal. They grew up on the East End of London and resorted to crime to take care of each other. Eventually, they gained a reputation of being the toughest the toughest bad hooligans around. They were rude boys, definitely some rude boys. So the backstory with the Smiths is really intriguing. The backstory of the brothers alone is worth the read of this book. It's so good. The backstory of the Smiths is still better than the Marvel Universe. Right, like that Deadpool movie. Me and Dennis and Matt talked about it on the Crazy Life Stories. Like the Deadpool movie, it has no story. There's like no storyline. It's just joke after joke after joke after joke after joke. There isn't really a comprehensive story like this. This is a really good story. It's so good. But anyways, so there are a few bizarre noteworthy scenes nearing the end of the book. If you ever read a Bond novel or seen one of the movies, you already know what I'm about to say. The antagonist, John Charnage, in cliché fashion, he runs a backdoor casino through a front of an abandoned chemical factory. Right? It's really weird. Like I said, cliché. The chemical factory gives it gets like creepy Joker energy, and it looks like something straight out of the Saw movies. Right? And you can imagine it's like the details, the descriptions that the author gives is so good, so well written. Also in cliché Bond style, the casino is ran by. I don't know if this platform might definitely kick me off for this. But the casino is ran by a bunch of servants that the bad guys got, but all of the servants are their children. All of the servants are minors. It's really weird. And Bond is like, there's a description, if you read the book, where Bond, he figures it out, right? He figures out how old the servants are, and he gets like wide-eyed, like he's like shocked and appalled. Of course, who wouldn't be shocked and appalled? A casino is ran by minors in a chemical abandoned factory. It's so cliche, like, and it's a lot of what the CIA does. If you study Jay Dyer's work, all the servants appear to Bond as underage. They are also boys his age at the tables, and these boys that are his age are at the tables. They're gambling and drinking, right? It's really weird, sketchy. Ask Ghislaine Maxwell where Mick Poopstein is, right? Like that's kind of that type of, that type of energy is really, it just gives you like. Freaks me out. So gross and weird and immoral and disgusting. Like, makes you wanna. It just makes you wanna. Whoever's in charge of this casino, like, man, put him on the wall. What's that awesome song? Take 'em all, put 'em up against the wall and boot 'em. Take 'em all, watch them fall. Come on, boys, take them all. Yeah, all these weird PDOs, right? Like, man, creepy. And now the president of the country is freaking went from a child sniffer to a convicted child. Gross. Just gross. What a scumbag. Anyway, so whenever I talk about... Wake the Dead podcast gets into this topic of SRA or TBM, trauma-based mind control, or satanic ritualistic abuse. They do a lot of amazing work. Wake the Dead, they just put out a recent episode that's very recent, like it came out last week on SRA with Cosmic Peach. Shout out to Sean McCann and Julia of Cosmic Peach. Those guys are absolute legends. The work that they do is so absolutely commendable. It's the work that they do and the topics they talk about is so good. About how Hollywood and the country are ran by PEDO. But nobody listens when I say it. So go to Wake the Dead podcast. Find the episodes with Carrie Olahe, Carrie Carrie. and then her last name is Olaje. And then look up those episodes. I'll put a link in the description. Those episodes are so good. I'll put Mark Passio's presentation in the description. So, and then the terrorist, of course, the bad guy Carnage, in order to try to take Bond out and to off Bond, basically. You know, you always see it like, what? You expect me to live? No, I expect you to die! Like that classic cliche stuff, but we love it, you know, like if you're like me. We love the Bond movies. It's good stuff. So, oh yeah, Carnage tries to, instead of just, you know, like, taking Bond out, right? Instead of just, you know, instead of being one and done, like, why, of course the terrorist is stupid, dumb dolt who doesn't know how to actually off somebody, right? So he tries to Bond ends up getting alcohol poisoning at the casino, and it's just a really weird scene, like, right, when you think about the allegory, when you read Jay Dyer's books or the Musical Truth volumes, it's just, like, yeah, the end half of the book is really interesting. I think there's some really good allegory in there. Somebody else needs to break these books down besides me. With, like, somebody like Brandon Martin, you need to break these books down because you have a much more articulate brain than I do, and you have a lot more experience of knowledge, a wealth of knowledge under your belt. I really want to see somebody else break these books down because they're so good. I think they're worth diving into. So all of the things that occur near the end of the book remind me of Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut, which is Stanley Kubrick's last movie. You know, coincidentally, kind of sketchy, but also a previous book review on the Musical Truth Volume 1. So that was all my notes. I'm sorry I'm so tired. Like, I hope you guys made it this far. I appreciate if you made it this far. Huge thanks to Mark Devlin and Mark Passio and all of the One Great Work Network content creators. I'm gonna send those guys some money. I'm gonna make a donation this Christmas just because, like, I wanna support, you know, I wanna support the One Great Work Network. So I mean, it's a fantastic book. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I was reading it at work. Like, I would get off of work and reading and doing notes. So I was always exhausted. You know, my notes weren't as articulate as they usually are, I feel like. But I've been so tired getting back to work, lifting thousands of pounds of, you know, oh, jeez. But anyways, but yeah, thanks again if you made it this far. Appreciate it. If you're feeling, I need to give a shout out. So I'll put it in the link of the description below. I started a GoFundMe because I really want to take the How to Become the True Media seminar with Mark Passio again. I think it would really help the channel. It would definitely help me retain some of the information from that class. And the class is just so good. He talks about morality and freedom, and it's just amazing. I would love to take Richard Grove's class. I would love to take Jay Dyer's philosophy course, Philosophy 101 course. I would think I would gain a lot of value out of all these classes, but I just don't have enough money. So I started a GoFundMe. If you want to donate to the GoFundMe, I'll leave a link to the description of that. Or if you want to support the channel, use code BeagleEyeVision without the S at w.gg. I just ordered a care package. I'll be making a video of it. Actually, the video of the care package will be out before this book review, actually. I don't know what I'm talking about. Like I said, I'm tired. I'm going to go play some video games. I have to finish my notes on I'm going to do a video, I'm going live here soon, on the Satanism in Fortnite. The Satanism in modern gaming. Look up. I have a lot of articulate notes I need to finish up. I'm going to go wrap them up right now. So look out for that. Satanism in modern gaming. That's going to be a good live stream. But by the time this releases, the live stream will already be over. Sorry. But you can still check it out for posterity. It'll be recorded on there. Hopefully YouTube won't shut it down, you know. I love that. I'm drinking some what is it? Calio cream. This is good. It's delicious, man. Delicious. But it does have sucralose in it, so drink at your own risk. Do research. Do your research. Do your own due diligence on sucralose. And thanks again if you made it this far. The next book review is going to be, drum roll please, Esoteric Hollywood, the second volume. So, just going to be talking about movies next time you see me for January. Probably just going to be having some fun, talking about movies. It'll be really cool. There's a lot of good movies in here that I haven't seen, and some good movies I have seen. Like here's Ex Machina. Here, I'll come up to you guys. Ex Machina. This is gonna be a good book right here. Oh, what's that look like here? Let me see. Adjust the camera. Oh, hey. All right, yeah. It's an awesome movie. I love that he's got like the film covers at the beginning. Every chapter is a new, it's a new movie. Basically, every chapter is a different movie, and he talks about it. This is going to be a doozy. It's going to be a really long book. It's 396 pages, so it'll be good. Snowpiercer. Gosh, Snowpiercer is so awesome. Yep, check it out. I wish I had more energy. I wish I was so tired from working all freaking week. The Cell. Ooh, look at that. Occult. Again, I don't know if you guys can see it really well. And yeah, super fired up. American Ultra. Jesse Eisenberg movie. That's a really good chapter. I remember reading that one. There's a Walmart receipt in here. Interesting. They Live. Oh, classic. Amazing. 10 out of 10. I love that movie. I'm ready to go see. I'm gonna go watch Network here probably sometime. One of my days off. I've really been wanting to watch Network. It's good stuff. Jay Dyer. Esoteric Hollywood. Ooh, is that The Shining? Yep. The Shining. Shining stuff. Stranger Things. Whole chapter on Stranger Things. Freaking nuts. Freaking nuts. Tune into the Crazy Life Stories every Sunday. We put out a new episode. This is Double or Die. This is the book review we did today. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So, thanks again if you made it this far. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. I'm going to be drinking some Twisted Tea down here. Send Beagle Eye Visions your money on Cash App, Beagle Eye. You can find the logo if you want to donate. Appreciate it. Everything helps. Or if you want to donate to that, get me back to the How to Become a True Media seminar, that'd be amazing. That'd be 10 out of 10. What else? I don't know. I guess that's it. Use code BeagleEyeVision at W. Thanks again if you made this far. Appreciate you guys. Internet hug. All right. Peace out.